it's okay to be pathetic, but stay in the game because you're gonna find that little nugget that's like gold.
All right, it's a muddy mess. It's a muddy mess, people. Persevere. Keep trying, people. Doesn't always work out, does it? Life doesn't always work out. And it's okay. It's all right that it doesn't work out.
John, it's nice to meet you.
Yes, nice meeting you too. Yes, yeah.
And thanks for just being willing to just jump into a conversation with me with very little, pretext.
Yeah, I gather you're interested in the what I'm doing, so be happy to talk to you about it.
I'm familiar with your work, but only vaguely. Like, it might have been during COVID.
Yeah,
I was flipping through TikTok or something, and a clip came up of you saying something like, you do a lot of like repetition. It was something kind of motivating, but it was also chaotic.
I just gotta keep going. Just gotta keep going. Just gotta keep going. Don't have to figure it out. Hang in there.
And I remember just being like, oh, this makes so much sense to me right now.
Yeah.
With how we're all feeling and how we're all trapped at home. And so, yeah, I remember kind of diving into your content then. And then I think maybe might have just been last week after some of the terrible stuff in the news. I got served more of your content, and it was a similar kind of catharsis. So
yeah.
There's something chaotic about what you're doing that finds me in moments of crisis, and it seems to make sense to me. And yeah, I was like, I really want to know how this guy got to making this kind of work, and what keeps him doing it.
Right. It's just sort of a continuum of many years of being in the creative field. And maybe tapping into the stuff I've been doing lately in terms of the performance stuff, tends to tap into, as you mentioned, the sort of how you can't avoid the outside world, and also your own personal world. And so there is a sort of a regurgitation on my part, and of that, and a reflection, of what we're all going through a little bit. So I'm happy to just also just do something, just go back to just painting, if you will, which is, it's always been my bread and butter in terms of how I make a living. So it's something that I gravitate to. From day one, I've always was gravitated to the idea of painting. I've always enjoyed painting. Even when I was in high school, I grew up in Oakland, and I got into painting then. A lot of plein air painting, where you go out on the streets and to the landscape, and you paint on location. I did that for so many years. It's such an invigorating. It's even you can even feel that that's even a performance in itself.
Did you have who were your biggest inspirations? Like, were there painters and artists that you admired?
I mean, I think initially, again, because I got into the painting landscapes, I gravitated to all the impressionist kind of stuff. Yeah, I really got into that. And then, but but also because I grew up in the Bay Area, I kind of was learning also about sort of they call it the abstract expressionist world of painting. A little more sloppy, a little more robust, and it's not so delicate or finite. It's not Norman Rockwell. It's more like smash the paint to the canvas kind of stuff.
Right.
And I think my temperament is more about that. However, you're here in Los Angeles, and so the entertainment industry. I kind of was attracted a little bit to that aspect, and so I took some acting classes and improv classes. So that really opened me up a little bit, particularly the improv. It was wonderful and also terrible. I couldn't. I was scary to do. It was intimidating, and yet it was also a wonderful experience. So, so that, and then this whole cable access. Well, also cable access. I knew about cable access. I don't know. You're familiar with cable access? So
no, walk me through it. Because is this how your show kind of began?
Yes. So this is the I started doing they call it public access or cable access. Congress set up this thing for when cable companies came into the cities or all over the country. They required that a couple of channels be offered for the public to make their own TV shows, basically.
Search my heart, O Lord, and see. Search my heart, O Lord, and see.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey,
Are you a heckler?
no, on your shirt there, you missed a button.
So I got involved in making those kind of making my own TV show, basically. In 1995 was one of my first shows I started doing, and it was just kind of exploring comedy and skits.
Did you have to pitch it to the local station to get it made?
Give them. All you had to do is take like a class, like a workshop on like how to be careful around cameras and and learn about the rules, don't show up drunk, stuff like that. And one of the other ones was that if you bring in guests, you are responsible for that guest. So in case that guest is drunk or causes damage, you are responsible. But luckily nothing, that never, there was never a problem. But anyway,
I like how that's the only rule that you remember. You can't be drunk and your guests can't be drunk.
Yeah, and of course I knew people that were basically drunk.
25. Hello, caller. Welcome to Let's Paint TV.
So why is he drinking non-alcoholic beer?
Well, there's a rule you can't be drinking alcoholic beverages inside the studio here.
Oh, this is good. The shot.
I think the rules can be bended a touch. It is public access,
No, but that is the rules of public access, my friend.
Can you dip the beer in paint and rub the impression onto the canvas?
Yeah, we could. That's the creative juices that we like. Thanks, caller.
Nice, brother.
Okay.
At first, it was not the Let's Paint TV show. It was more so again these shows. It was called the Jim Barry Show, and it was skits and trying to be like Saturday Night Live.
Welcome to the Jim Barry Show. I am, of course, Jim Barry, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. Look over there. Look over there. Okay, you look.
That's gonna disturb it. Come on. Yeah. Move it. Let's move out of here. Come on. I'm gonna take it on myself.
It was all improv and not very good at all. It was pathetic for the most part. I'm sure there was some good moments there. I'm a big fan of just that, of, you know, it's okay to be pathetic, but stay in the game, because you're going to find that little nugget that's like gold. And
Right.
so I've always felt that about what I do, even to this day. So I don't mind if I'm stumbling or bumbling, like just me rambling on here and talking about different things. Once in a while, I will click click back into making some kind of cognitive sense.
Were people giving you, what was the initial feedback? Did people like the
Well,
show? Did people in your area recognize you?
not so much, because this is the 90s. There's no internet, so
Okay.
it's only being aired on the cable access station. So you know, maybe 1,000 people might have saw it or something. But it's LA, so people do see it. And so you occasionally, you put I don't know, an email, or even back then I even had a PO box, and occasionally you would get a letter.
Okay, first of all, what's the concept of the show? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. All right. We've explained the concept many times.
So how do you get from, skits with some buddies to then you painting and running on a treadmill and taking in calls?
We talked to Dr. Edgar Sorensen of the New England Journal of Medicine, and he recommends exercising and painting and conducting heart surgeries all at once as a way to better yourself. Mr. Let's Paint here. Again, let's paint, bicycle, and shave.
Well, like, how did you decide to stack all those things?
There used to be a commercial about how there was a commercial for Reese's peanut butter cups, and in the commercial somebody had a Hershey's candy bar, and they somehow tripped and fell, and the candy bar fell into the peanut butter, and then that's how they just made Reese's peanut butter cups. I just sort of, it was kind of a stumbling upon thing, it just sort of happened. Technically, I'm part of the TV generation, and they would talk about how the TV generation has lack of focus, and we want, of course, that is morphed into even more so nowadays, obviously. But
yeah, we've taken it to hyperspeed.
Yeah, now it's nothing compared to what's going on now. But I think it's my lack of attention span,
When people see your work, I think some people might think that you're intentionally trying to be really funny. Do you see it as like a comedically driven thing, or is that more just kind of how some people experience it?
I'm open to that idea, but I think at times it is the intent, but overall it's not. Yeah, it's just sort of a byproduct of it all. And I think I've always sort of realized sort of my mannerisms and my approach, it kind of offers a kind of a humorous response. And are you laughing at me or with me? It's it's questionable. So I don't mind. I'm fine with that. When you can accept that, then you're in good shape. Being able to take it.
There's almost like it's like a psychedelic experiment, almost, and it seems like it's almost like you're always doing it. That's sort of the illusion, is like, this is the guy who's always on the treadmill, always painting.
Yeah, exactly.
How many hours a day do you create work, or how often are you actually kind of in the zone?
Sort of lately, for the longest time of the last few years, it's I kind of just do it once a week.
Okay.
The performance. And then what I will do is then, the whole editing of that performance takes a whole nother day in itself, just trying to isolate finding little nuggets in that performance. So it tends to be once a week overall. And then I'm editing and uploading, so I'm spending a lot of time doing that.
Yeah, that takes a lot of time.
Well, it's a job. I couldn't, I didn't have anything else to fall back on.
Right.
It's not like my father was a construction magnate, or whatever, and I could just help take over his business, after my failed art career, or stuff like that. Like I'm not taking over the family business. I've not been given any monies, to just, I had to find a way. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't have any, I can't do anything but make art to a point where it's as if I feel like I'm a plumber, like a blue collar kind of person in the sense it's kind of meat and potatoes existence. It's not it's not easy. Like I don't know where I'm really going to sell my next painting kind of thing, and it's always been that way. But that's just I think that's just the way it is. I think being a creative person, and you're trying to reach out. I mean, obviously, people who are maybe sort of superstar types, let's just say, or whatever you want to call them, famous types. Yeah. They kind of could just touch everything and everything turns into gold or whatever. They have the Midas touch somehow, and it's just because of their gigantic force of stardom. Whatever they want to do. I got a new candy bar, with my name on it, and we're going to promote it. I'm going to go on the Tonight Show talking about my candy bar, just whatever idea you want to do, because you are a superstar, you're going to get a lot of press and a lot of publicity and a lot of hype.
Right.
But for everyone else, which is pretty much everybody else, which is 99% of everybody else, of everyone, it just comes and goes. You might hit it, you might get some excitement, some press even, and maybe even some money, and but then you those slow periods, let's just call it, where you're not maybe hitting on that high cylinder of whatever you want to call it, is actually a great period of the creative process, is where you're basically being left alone to do whatever the hell you want to do,
Yeah. Do you make your work alone entirely?
I mean, the way I have it set up now, yes. And I don't really care for that, to tell you the truth. That's what I really enjoyed with the cable access stations.
The collaboration, yeah.
Yeah. So I had they would be a producer, they would be, punching the buttons and collaborating and putting, some fun things, sound effects and music and whatever. And just the interaction. Yeah. So I miss that.
Yeah.
But I every once in a while I get out of my place here and do some kind of live performance. So.
Oh, cool. It kind of feels like your work speaks to, and maybe this is why it found me, is like it sort of speaks to the isolated person.
Yeah, can be, yes.
Yeah,
because that's why I am sort of a little bit isolated here. COVID definitely reinforced that. But
yeah, well, and it's like you've got the projection or the green screen of the people dancing behind you, or like,
yeah,
and then you're stacking all these different stimuli on top of each other, and it's almost like you're forcing the person to remember that like they're not alone. Like we're all sort of in our own, we're all kind of atomized, but we're atomized together. Is that intentional, or is it just kind of an emergent thing from the work?
I mean, I'm nothing, in terms of intentional, I think it's more of, again, stumbling upon it and being more acutely aware of what is visually interesting, maybe. And also it's a little bit of necessity. When I did do the cable access show, when I first started it, I would have my friends help participate. They would also participate.
Hey, this is Rita's husband.
Hi, Rita's husband.
Oh, Rita's husband. Hi, everybody wave.
Hi, Rita's husband.
Hey, Rita's husband.
But as I started doing, I started doing more and more, but these friends kind of scaled back. They didn't show up. They didn't, and you started to realize, okay, I'm going to have to just do this by myself. Because I can't, because there's no money. Had we had a big budget and everyone was going to get paid, okay, then they'll show up. But if this is just to have fun and to do whatever the hell you're supposed, whatever the hell you're doing, I don't know what, sometimes I'm not even sure what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. They're not going to show up. And then also they're like, well, wait a second. You're just a big ham, you're just like on,
what do you mean?
I don't need to I can't, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't know. I mean, we never had any big discussions. They just stopped showing up. So. How we pick and how we operate, how we make ourselves feel comfortable in our own skin is an individual journey, and there's always there's all these ups and downs, and I grapple with that to this day. Really, I mean, I think though I gotta say, when I'm in the creative zone, when I'm doing creative stuff, I feel much more at ease with myself, and I feel better about myself. So I just keep doing it, and I think that's what keeps me going. Really, is just keep making something.
Yeah.
Because
has anybody ever approached you and been like, "Stop! Don't do this anymore," or have you?
Well. I think sometimes people would say, when I used to do more of the how to paint programming, they would say, "Why don't you shut up and paint?" Because I'm talking too much, But no, but there's always there can always be something negative, particularly with comments. That's always if you read the comments, that's always, you run the risk of seeing some negative stuff. Yeah,
for sure. The experience you create is so unique, and it really catches people. I think it would make sense as an interview format, like there's you on your treadmill, and then every time you bring a guest, and it's like, we're just gonna see what the fuck we make together for the next 30 minutes, and just see if get people to enter the trance with you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I've had like little nibbles of interest of that idea, and but it never comes about,
Yeah. What is there any kind of like spiritual or meditative quality you get from creativity? Like
yeah.
Could you
I believe
talk about that?
Well, I'd say again, I mentioned how when I enter the creative, say, zone, whatever it may be, performing or painting for that matter, both, either or, and it's all creative process.
Yeah.
It's like this escape, but it's also rejuvenating. Um, so I enjoy the idea of meditating. I do a I do a sort of a half-ass meditation, and I enjoy that. But there's sort of it's a very calming aspect. Whereas I think for myself, when I'm doing the creative stuff in the terms of making music or yelling and screaming or painting, there's sort of an energy that I can let loose and sort of scream and yell. There's a big release. It's sort of a little bit opposite of, say, meditating and being peaceful and calm. But I spend a lot of time in a more peaceful, calm, way. I don't think I could really survive without it. Really, you need to let it out, and for your anger, you might have a lot of anger, a lot of pent up frustrations, and a lot of times people will use that and apply it to their strangers and friends and neighbors, right? Because you're so pent up, you just, and then you put that energy on other people, and that's not good. Obviously, how that's not a good thing, right? But you can put that energy in the creativity world, and it's totally good. It's the best place to put that energy.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad. So mad. I'm so mad. I'm not gonna take it anymore, people. We're not gonna take it anymore. Ugh. Ugh.
So you're maybe 20, 30 years into this creative journey. Is this like a life?
More like 40.
Okay, 40. So this is going to be like a lifelong vocation. You see this practice continuing forever?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where I'm headed. I don't really have, I'm kind of on the, I'm halfway, more than halfway through this operation.
Well, one of your shirts or something, it says
called life.
Yeah, yeah, whatever this is. One of your shirts or paintings, it says "Paint till you die." And so, yeah, that makes sense. That's actually kind of your manifesto in some ways.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's. I really like that. There's something. I think you really are onto something in the sense of like just persistence and submitting to the inevitability of creation. And, just letting it flow through you. I think that's like it's an admirable virtue.
Well, it's the only one that I feel keeps me going in a sense. It's just, you think about life in the sense of, just all the factors of life and what life's about. And what it's just, that's how it goes down, in a sense. I'm just going to go down with the ship, painting and being creative. That's all I really can do. It makes me happy. It soothes my soul. It heals my pain, it makes me feel good. So why would I stop doing it,